podcast is powered by monkeyknifefight.com.
I hear something in the back, but it sounds like it's on your side.
No, what are you talking about? No, that was some feedback from my headphones.
Eureka. We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day.
Blah, blah, blah.
We make plays every day.
It's time!
We make plays every day. We make plays every day.
Every day!
Yeah. We make plays every day.
Hey!
We make plays every day.
Hey!
We make plays every day.
Welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogart Scott Free. Right back at you with the resident UFC expert on the GMM network. Our man, friend of the show, friend of the world, billionaire, trillionaire, aka Nancy, what's happening?
Hi.
Hey,
That's my new
I was about to say that. I was about to say that because, hey, the second time around it got me just like the first time. Listen, this is your shtick now. This is a mainstay. Well, high yourself. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of getting high, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go ahead and get some of the isms rolled up. Okay, check us out, Playmakers. We are doing a breakdown. We're actually doing a breakdown of UFC. Is this one labeled anything?
Yeah, it's UFC Fight Night 172.
Fight Night 172, yes. UFC Fight Night 172. We're going to be breaking this thing down. We're going to specify and highlight three of the fight cards, or three of the matches that Nancy here wants to touch on. The rest, you know what I'm saying? Well, either way, it's his three favorite ones. We're going to break it down. You know what I'm saying? And before we get to that, we're going to go ahead and handle some quick housekeeping. Then we're going to recap UFC 251, and we're going to get right down to brass tacks. So go ahead and follow me at the GMM Network on both Twitter and IG. Also follow me at Bogart Scott Free World on IG. You know what I'm saying? What was that? Did you hear that noise? Oh, no, that's probably my house. Anyways, yes. And then go ahead and subscribe to us at YouTube/the GMM Network. You can also find the Real Fantasy Playmakers available on all streaming platforms. So go ahead and follow us on all those joints. Subscribe, like and subscribe, leave a review, comments, all that shit, etc. You know what I mean? Now we're going to go ahead and shout out our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX, for all your CBD wellness and all your CBD goodness. Go ahead and visit www.milkandhoneytx.com. Tell them Bogey sent you. You know what I mean? Yeah, we also have to shout out the Rum Boys Fantasy Network. Go ahead and subscribe to us over there on YouTube/the Rum Boys Fantasy Network. Shout out to the gang. Also check us out on rumboys.com, where you're going to find all our latest and greatest articles on everything sports related, all the isms. Shout out to the writing crew. Gang. You know what I mean? And you heard it in the intro. This podcast is powered by Monkey Knife Fight. So go ahead on monkeyknifefight.com. Use promo code GMM and we'll match your first deposit all the way up to $50. If you guys, Playmakers, are tuned in to episode 87, episode 87 of the Real Fantasy Playmakers, my man Nancy broke down 5 of the highlighted matches that he was gonna go get the bag on. And if you guys listened to his advice, you would have got the bag. You know what I mean? Our man Nancy signed up with monkeyknifefight.com. He himself used promo code GMM, even though he's a company man. You know what I'm saying? Part of the GMM network. He went ahead and utilized the company perks. And all you Playmakers, you guys are extended family. You guys get to use the same perks. Use promo code GMM. Like Nancy did, will match your first deposit all the way up to $50. Nancy, he went ahead and put the $50, got $100 to play with, and he's sitting pretty. He's already been doubled up. You know what I mean? And now, with that said, Nancy, go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
_ Billy Turnage on IG. That's the only one.
Yeah, he forgot to follow it up with one of his old with something else he always says is.
Should we just keep that one going?
Yeah. If you try to fuck with him, if you try to follow him on anything else, he ain't gonna fuck with you. So go ahead and follow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Come on. We gotta keep continuity. You know what I'm saying?
sober today. You know what I mean?
Hey, me too. I'm just high. Well, I'm not. Well, I guess that's me regularly, right? You know what I mean? I might be a little more tamed, I guess, because of the fact that I know you're not drunk. Like if I was drunk, first of all, it's almost had to be both of us not, because it's like a trigger. And I hate to use the word trigger like we're some kind of raging alcoholics, but it's more like we have such a good time. You know what I'm saying? In our brotherhood over the damn near 2 decades. Yeah, actually 2 decades that we've known each other. You know what I'm saying? That, if a motherfucker's drinking and I'm not drinking, I'm like, you know what, Nancy, I'm gonna join you, and vice versa. You know what I mean? But yeah. So all right. So like I said, you won some of the monies. Let's go ahead and recap 251 and how you did fairly well. What's your calls?
Yeah, I got to shout out monkeyknifefights.com as well. I did double my money, as he said. Yeah, I don't know.
He started off lightweight. He started off lightweight.
I changed some of my picks. You guys would have had to follow the GMM network to see the final picks as they go in. You got to understand, on these big cards, like on Friday nights, all I do is I watch weigh-ins, and then I'm watching UFC embeddeds. I'm watching every single thing I can, and I just
those
start
weigh-ins, bro. When they're weighing in that night before the fight, like sometimes your pick could be swayed by the look of killer in a fighter's eyes. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and it has been a lot different because they're doing the mask. There's no crowd. There's no hype.
Yeah.
But even when they're doing the walkout, unfortunately, that's too late to be changing your picks or whatever. But I could just see my picks. I knew my picks were going well. That's for sure. So there was three people I said that were going super big in
Vegas. They were heavily favored by the public. They
were favored by the public, even though they were still underdogs, and that was
a big no-no in this case.
Yeah, that was Paige Van Zandt, that was Max Holloway, and that was Jorge Masvidal.
Man, you knocked all those out the park. You were like, no to all of them.
Unfortunately, I got robbed on the Holloway fight, though. I think we all know that Holloway put it on that boy, but he didn't get the W. And it was funny, too, because I didn't realize how many people weren't just sitting back and just stalking my post about all of this. But once the fights were over, man, my DMs were blowing up like, Holloway had that when you called it. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But still, though, here's the thing, too, man, is unfortunately, it's still judges. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the problem. Dana always says it. You put it up to the judges, that's what's going to happen. But either way, it was still a great fight. That Paige Van Zandt, how long did that last? 3.5 minutes?
Yeah. Hey, man, we didn't even get and if you were to bet the more on page 150, or what was it, 156, or not bet it, if you would have took the prop, I should say. Excuse me, Playmakers, you know what I mean? Yeah, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think she got that more on there.
No, I definitely, she definitely won me my props for sure. But you know what? That was the perfect one too, because I was at a party. Like it was a party and a viewing party. There was like 30 people there. Paige comes walking in, looking all cute and everything, and then that Amanda chick comes in the ring, bro, and the look in her eyes, I was like, she about to murder this girl. Murder her. And everybody was like, no, it's Paige Van Zandt. I'm like, just because you don't know who Amanda Ribas is, don't start voting for Paige. And then, whoop, whoop, hella quick. I was like, all right, time for another drink.
Yeah. Hey, isn't it a gratifying feeling being right?
Yeah, you know what? It's even more fun when I get to watch the fights around a bunch of people because I call what's going to happen or what they need to do.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Or
you do have a history as a fighter for real. Like, so it's like, you know what I mean? You actually are the authority in it because, like, for instance, and you've played football. Like, listen, I know my football, but I've played, flag football? So it's like, you know what I mean? I couldn't tell you firsthand how, like, a running back could get hit so much and it'd be like, oh, now he's picking up steam. He needs to get hit. I'd be like, for me, in my small stature, I'd be like, yo, I'm a scat back. You know what I mean? You feel me? Like, yeah.
Then the next fight was that Rose fight, that was a brawl, man. It really was. It was a close fight. But as I said, Rose was going to pull it out.
And you did say it was going to be full of a lot of binging. You know what I'm saying? Playmakers, that means they was going to be swinging them. You know what I mean? It was action packed.
They were out there banging for sure.
Yeah, banging.
I got to go through. I should have marked down all the ones that I did win, but I'm pretty sure I won the over on her, or the more I should say.
Yeah. Don't worry, Playmakers. We're still getting used to this. And Monkey Knife Fight. Much love, Monkey Knife Fight. Give me money.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for the money, Monkey Knife Fight.
Oh yeah.
But
and they want to give us more. You know what I mean?
Yes, they do. And then I'm gonna
not less.
This one. But no, yeah, it was a great fight. And you know what? For the people who were betting on the straight bets in Vegas, or however you do that online, I don't know however you guys go about that.
There's different books out there. You know?
Yeah. I just don't want to give anybody else free promo.
No, exactly. Because they're not paying us.
Exactly. But that Rose was the underdog. So, I mean, you probably doubled your money. I don't know if it was that big of a
odds difference.
Odds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she's just a better all-around fighter. I mean, granted, like I said, she got dropped on her noggin in the first fight, but that was just one of those rare KOs. But yeah, there was another pick for your boy. I started off the night. I'm like, I'm 2-0, bro. I'm 2-0. I'm 2-0, and I'm just getting more drunk. So I'm like talking all this shit to people, and then my boy Aldo comes up and just, you know what? I had to go with Aldo. I had to go with my heart. I wanted the dude to have one last.
You said this on the show, though. You did say it on the show. You were like, you know what? You were like, his opponent's he's gonna be the one that will be willing to take more chances. Aldo's more seasoned. He's gonna try to pick him apart. But like, man, that was the same thing too. When I seen Aldo walk out, I was like, oh man. And I seen his opponent walk out, I was like, nah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, even though I think there was only like a 5 or 6 year age difference between them, but
the amount of fights though.
Yeah, well, I mean, the amount of fights, Aldo probably had like 10 more fights.
That's what I'm saying. So the experience is there, but also like being rocked, and Aldo's been knocked out before. You know how that goes sometimes when.
I mean, the last time that I bet my heart on Aldo was when he got knocked out in fucking 10 seconds by McGregor or whatever it was. But you know, those 5 or 6 years in all those fights, it makes a huge difference. Especially with like how we talked in the first show about how these young kids are just they're just evolving into like these crazy fighters. You know what I mean? Like I think anybody that fights in any weight class now that were to fight like the old school dudes, it wouldn't even be close. I mean, except for
think about it, bro.
It's Gracie or something. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like this. It's just what these kids are eating all across the world now. Because, bro, it's like that in every sport. Like, look at football. Some of the things that these players are doing. Like, look at Saquon Barkley, just him as a specimen, or like DK Metcalf. Like these motherfuckers are coming. Look at LeBron. LeBron might have started it all for his generation before this generation. Like, listen, I'm just a freak of nature. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, now they got him doing like stem cells and
it's true.
What do you call it? Those little suction cups and shit like that. And
I think they don't call it blood doping anymore, but they used to do a thing where like they're just switching out all your blood with reinvigorated new blood. You know what I mean?
There's wild shit, even like the cryo chambers and shit. You know, they had ice baths back in the day. Now you go spend 5 minutes in a cryo chamber and like you just fucking completely redone. So I mean, obviously technology and just nutritionists and trainers just becoming better themselves as well. And I mean, you got kids now, especially the Brazilians. They've always been known for that, and the Russians.
They wake up, they bust out the womb, and they're learning jujitsu. Or like in Russia, they bust out the womb, they're wrestling baby cubs. You know what I mean?
Straight up. And then as we'll take that on to the next fight. My man Max Holloway. We've been to Hawaii before together. We know how it is out there. My mom was born and raised out there. They come out the straight scrapping, barefoot. You know what I mean? That's just
in the sand. In the sand where it's harder to fucking maneuver.
Yeah, so I mean,
hey, that's a great stereotype. Okay, that's almost as good as like okay, how about this? Anytime I go to Hawaii, like North Shore, there's like this little cliff. We go on this beach and it's like a little mini cliff, and we jump off this shit. And like I'm going to the edge of the cliff, and it's like depending on the swell, you can get everywhere from like 30, 40 feet, because sometimes the swell can come up really high and you jump and only be like 20 feet before you hit the water. You know what I mean? But like I'm just sliding on my ass down on the edge to stand up and then jump. When I'm watching these little kids just run and do triple somersault backflips off the shit, I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, yeah, bruh. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers is born and raised here.
Stop being a pussy, bruh. Come on.
Yeah. Come on, cuss. You know what I mean? It's just doing like backflips and damn near walk on a handstand to the end of the edge of the cliff and then jump off like that.
That's like when I got that sea urchin stuck in my foot, right? We're sitting on the fucking hella drunk. I'm trying to pull the bastards out.
Hey, bro. Do you remember I pulled that shit out of your I pulled the one you pulled it out and there was a broken piece in there still.
Well, because we were doing it the wrong way, right?
Yeah, and like I hear like pull this shit out, bro. There's blood gushing out. I fucking yanked that little spike.
You're doing it wrong. You can't. He's like, you can't pull it out. You got to get a stick and you got to break it off and leave it in your foot. I'm like, what? What the fuck are you talking about right now? And then he's like, and let one of your boys pee on your feet. I was like, fuck that. Ain't nobody pissing on my foot. I'll pee on my own foot. It's not like it's on my back to where I can't reach it. I can pee on my own foot. You know what I'm saying? But then, and then I'm like, well, what do I do after? He's like, you just got to walk around. It'll come out. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but bro, I distinctly remember, though, you broke off majority of it, and I pulled that little thing out, bro, and it was just like, ugh. And you know what?
Hurt hella bad.
Well, we chose. See, this is how drunk and like newbies we were to that area of Hawaii. We got boogie boards, but the beach we went to, it was like basically 2 feet of water depending on the swell for like a mile out. So we're like on this boogie boards, like using our hands basically to touching the ground, and we're pulling ourselves as far as we can. And then at one point we're like, fuck it, let's just start walking. And then, then we're out there fucking around for a while. And then by the time we're coming back, we're the same thing. You're like walking and you step on this motherfucker, dude. It's like, bro, we're at the wrong beach.
We were. Everybody else is on like long paddle boards and shit. And we're over here trying to boogie board. They're looking at us like, these dumb motherfuckers.
For real, dude. Well, yeah, we'll Playmakers.
We'll go on to that. To that main event, like I told you, bro. I fuck with Masvidal. I said that before. The guy's a fucking gangster. But Usman is, and I don't even like Usman. He's boring to me. Like I don't even like. He doesn't even talk good shit. Like if you don't at least talk good shit, or you're not just out there just straight banging. You know what I'm saying? Like because Nate Diaz doesn't really talk that good of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because he took a lot of hits to the head. I think like the parts of his brain that are intact are his fighting parts. The thing because his speech isn't the best after all the hits.
Like younger things of him and Nick, that's just never who they've been.
Yeah, you're right. Because even going all the way back to like the Ultimate Fighter show.
Where they grew up too, it's like there was none of that back and forth talking. It was just like you start talking, you're gonna get hit. You know what I'm saying? But I like him because he goes out, he does talk shit, but he'll go out there and just start smashing. Masvidal's a little smoother with his mouth. Nobody's fucking Connor, right? But But I fuck with Masvidal, like I said, on those Kimbo fights and all of that, like just watching how he evolved. But fucking Usman's just too goddamn big. He really is, man. He's just too big.
You pointed that out on the show too, and then on top of like Masvidal having to lose all that goddamn weight, and maybe within 24 hours he was able to hydrate completely, but still like. How weakened do you? I mean, how close to 100% do you feel going up against a guy who walks around at that weight essentially and just got the massive, just size advantage? Yeah.
I don't know. That's just a. I mean, it's gonna take somebody to either drop down and cut weight to fight him, or I think that they're trying to pump the. They're trying to pump some Connor into that one. I don't think that's a good matchup for Connor. I think, No, I think he's just going to get smacked. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for me getting robbed on that Max Holloway fight, I would have went 4 for 5, but I went 3 for 5. So it is what it is.
It's a great hit rate.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't bad. I doubled my.
And you did well on your. You doubled your props, and you did well on some of your parlays as well, right?
The parlay had to hit on all.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, like, because I know you did more than one. So you missed on all the parlays on this one.
Yeah, so that the way the parlays work for all you new Monkey Knife Fight fans or subscribers,
Users.
You got to you have the option to pick like a 1-on-1 parlay, a 2 parlay, 3 parlay, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times parlay. So of course, me just being me, and I only bet $10, but I mean 10 props.
No, you can call it monies. You can call it monies. You just can't use the B word or the G word.
All right. But yeah, anyways, I threw down 10 props on the 6x6, but you got to hit all 6 of them to win the prize. But if you hit on all 6, it's 20 times your money. So I threw down 10 and it didn't work out for me, but I still doubled my props. It is what it is.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's why y'all need to go on and head on over to monkeyknifefight.com. Use promo code GMM, and we'll match your first deposit all the way up to $50, so you can reap the benefits from the information that our man Nancy, the GMM Network's resident UFC expert, has to offer. So let's go on and get on to Fight Night 170. What was it?
172.
172.
All right. Yeah. So back to the thing about, we're only going for the top 3.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be some good fights. There's another thing too, is that when it comes to these younger fighters, I don't know a tremendous amount about them, or these up and coming guys. But I do try to stay relevant with what I do know and who's like making noise and whatever. And there's a couple guys we're going to talk about that's doing that. But we like to stay top shelf, so we're just going to go with the top 3. Hey, Tito's is top shelf, right?
Hey, if it ain't, they lied. If it ain't, they lied.
That's on the top of the damn
and
shit.
Tito's is one of the products that we will constantly promote, even though they don't pay us just yet. But with that said, Tito's, give me money.
God damn it, Tito's, just send me like a shirt or a bottle or something.
No. Tito's, give me money. Give me money. You know what I mean? Just to make up for all the money I spent on Tito's.
Yeah, man. All the people I turned out on Tito's. Fuck.
For real. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll start with this Jimmy Rivera and Cody Stamann fight. I've always been a big fan of Jimmy Rivera. Dude's a beast. I don't remember exactly how many fights it was, but I know it was like a mixture between whatever organization he was fighting with before and.
Where did he come from? Bellator?
I believe he was Bellator. I can almost guarantee he was Bellator. But this dude went on I don't quote me, and once we get better and bigger, we're gonna have a fucking stack checker like Joe Rogan. Shout out Joe Rogan, the king of this shit.
Yeah,
but
my hero.
Right? But he. It was like 20 straight wins, bro. I'm not even exaggerating. Like it could have been like.
And Playmakers, if he is exaggerating, his version's better.
But seriously, it's got to be like 18 at least. But this dude just went on a tear. Stamann, I don't know if you watched that fight, but it was like one of. I don't want to say it might have been the first on the COVID lockdown. But he fought 1 week after his brother died, and I think his brother died in a car accident or something.
I remember reading the storyline. Yeah.
Yeah. So his brother dies, and then imagine a week before your fight. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, the emotional drainage, of course.
I don't want to sound like an asshole. It probably helped with his fucking weight cut because the dude probably wasn't.
No, I was just about to say that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was probably the only thing. Well, and then I guess just like the pure, like, I'm going to do this one for my brother. But goddamn, that's a lot to do with, because you know how you and me are. That's not how we would deal with it.
I would probably
I'd go straight
not
to
fight.
the liquor store.
Yeah, I probably would have to cancel the fight because I would be too distraught. And let's not use this as hypothetical situations or scenarios in this case, because I don't even want to imagine that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I was just trying to make a point.
I actually, side note, Playmakers, Nancy. For those of you Playmakers that are new to hearing Nancy, he is part of the GMM network, and not just part of the GMM network. He's a part of my life. He's one of my brothers from another. Like he's basically my blood brother. And man, I want us and the rest of our brothers to all grow old together, so then we can be like, motherfucker, you're gonna croak next, motherfucker. you up next. We'll put money on it, motherfucker. Like,
Hey,
I hope
we're
we all get
actually
that
gonna
old
be-
where we're like, yeah, I hope I'm next. Like, oh, I want to be old farts, bro. Like, still talking
Hey,
shit.
We're literally going to be trying to get each other so drunk, and you're going to be like, "Stop! You're trying to kill me." And we're going to be like, "Yeah, we really are, though."
Yes, I love that hypothetical scenario. That's a good one. Dial that up, universe. Let me and all my brothers grow old and be able to look back. Remember 55 years ago, we were doing the podcast. Why do I sound like
what's funny?
Why do I sound like Stone Cold when I'm old?
This is this is hella off subject, but one of my guys told me that he's putting in his 2 weeks today because he's going to go on to do another place.
Yeah,
God
you're
bless him.
telling me. You're telling me. Yeah.
But we were talking about about growing old and making sure we're doing things for for the end of our life and not just living.
Yeah,
in
the
moment.
ones that will be survived by us, or was that? That's what they say, right? He was survived by blah blah blah. Yeah.
And he was just talking about like somebody that he dislikes that we work with, not in the department, but just in general at our location. And I said, you know what's crazy? People like that are just getting older and crankier. And but the type of people that we are, the type of people that joke around and fuck around all the time, we are going to be the dopest old people in the world. Like,
For real.
seriously, we're going to be like 80 years old, like looking at like some 20-year-old girls, like, hey, come over here. Get out of
Me
here.
and my
you
grandson.
fucking little man, you'd be like, fuck. I ain't got it no more.
I said, meet my grandson. He's like, nah, come meet me. He's like,
Hey, teaching your great grandson to drive at like fucking 10. What are you doing? He's got to learn someday.
it's like how? He's like, here, grandson, take a sip of this. He's like, why you giving him Tito's? He's only 10. You got to put some hair on his balls. You know what I'm saying? This will put some hair on your chest too. You know what I mean?
Hey, shit your diapers only halfway, so that way when the nurse changes it, you just got to shit it again. That's the only fun I got.
It's like I got a real hot nurse. You know what I'm saying? She only comes to see me when I shit. So oh, that's funny.
I do it twice. Yeah.
Man,
Anyways.
maybe I gotta start thinking seriously about how I'm gonna act when I'm an old man, or the universe is gonna be like, you're gonna be one of those raunchy old men. We're gonna go ahead and deny your old man wishes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, okay. So let's go on. So Riviera. Not only does he have like a cool like mafia sounding name, doesn't it sound like an '80s mafia guy?
Or it's like
Riviera.
yeah, Jenny Rivera, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Jimmy.
No, I mean, dude's a gangster. The only thing is he hasn't fought very much in the last 2 years. He only fought 4 times in the last 2 years, and then his last fight was over a year ago. It was back in June of last year, I believe. But then he got the Rona right before he was supposed to fight, either the end of last year or the beginning of this year. I mean, I guess it had to be the beginning of this year because it wasn't really known about.
Yeah.
I mean, it was close-ish. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
there was some cases that could have been corona, but they didn't know what it was. Dating all the way back to like November, like early flu season. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, who's to say?
Yeah. So I mean, that dude was just banging. He did lose like 3 of his last 4 fights though, in those 2 years, and one of them was to Aljamain Sterling, and then the other one was to Peter Yan. So I mean, you can't knock them. Those are 2 fucking bangers as well. But that not fighting is something that's scary. And then with Stamen, like I said, he just fought in June, so that dude like had a like 8-10 week camp before that, and now he just literally went from winning to straight back to camp. And you want to talk about focused, man? I mean, his brother passed away, like we talked about. If I had, I think I'm gonna go 1 underdog and 1 wild card every time we do one of these when there's 5 picks. But because there's only 3, I'm gonna go 1 underdog. I'm gonna take Stamen on this one. The dude fucking they both have almost the exact strike rate. I think it's like 4.15 or something like that. This was just me hella tweaking, right? Like just getting all into this shit.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I haven't seen them. I mean, I've seen Rivera enough to
No,
know,
but this is great because this is the research that and the focus that you have for the Playmakers. You know what I'm saying? So love it.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm saying that is because they both strike very equally. But as far as shooting, Jimmy's more of of just kind of like a boxer. He does have excellent takedown defense when it's a shot. So that means when it's a single leg or a double leg, he's in the 90 percentile with that one. Now, as far as like, when he's up on the cage or if he gets like heel hooked, some shit like that, I don't have fucking accurate numbers on that.
Yeah. Anytime there's something where his opponent can leverage him in that sense.
Yeah, because he's one of those guys that sits low. He just sits there and he just bangs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Stamon's gonna bang too. He's gonna strike, but he also likes to strike, and then he likes to shoot. And he shoots like 3 times more than Rivera on average. So it's. I think this. I don't even know why this fight wasn't number 2 on the card. Above the one that we're going to talk about next, because I mean, shit, it's going to be a close one in my eyes. Like I said, I'm going to take Stamen in this one because he's got that consistent. He's been staying in the cage. He's still got that fire for his brother. He's got a little more arsenal. You know what I'm saying to his repertoire. I don't feel like Jimmy's changed a lot, and I think that's why people are starting to catch on to him, and that's why he's lost 3 out of his last 4. I mean, it's kind of weird when at his last 2 fights weren't even very close. You know what I mean? They didn't even look that. It wasn't the Rivera that I was used to seeing. You go on a 15, 20 fight win streak, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and then you lose 3 out of your last 4. All that tells me is that either you've lost a step or people have caught on to your shit. You know what I mean?
And maybe too, he was a fighter they saw potential in, so they were throwing him a bunch of bones. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, like they were throwing him a bunch of some guys that could help build him up. You know what I mean? So he probably went on this tear of fighting these mediocre guys. I mean, mind you, I'm just ballparking, because in the fight business they do that sometimes. But so when
we're going to talk about that in the very next fight.
Okay, yeah, here we go.
So,
okay, finish your analysis because this is great. You're bringing your game is A1 right now.
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much sums it up. I think that it's going to be a close one, but I do think that's.
So you give him equal. You're giving no advantage to the next man when it comes to there's the stand up striking, but if it went to the ground, you know what I'm saying, you're not giving that to Riviera.
No, I don't, and I think that's what's going to be the difference maker. In the fight, I think that he's going to do that. Stamon's going to do a little more different moves, and that's why he's going to pull that one out. And for you guys who like to do these Vegas, straight up bets, these are the ones that when I'm giving you these underdogs. You saw what happened last time. This underdog, it's an underdog. It's a slight underdog. I don't think it's 2 to 1. It's probably like 1.5 to 1, but. It helps you, especially when we're talking about 3 fights, because the next fight is just ridiculous, and I guess we can move on to that.
Yeah, but real quick, so do you have the MKF less or more number on these fighters, real quick, and then we'll move on?
Yeah, I can. So I'll tell you. Let me.
Oh, unless you want to review that after the fact, like after we talk about the 3 fights.
Well, I guess we could do it right now. Hold on, I can pull it up.
Okay, cool.
So we're talking about
because now we're building a nice little routine. So when we move forward, we'll just we'll know that we'll break down the fight, then we'll touch on the lesser mores, and then we move on to the next fight.
All right. So the more or less on Stamen is 210.5. The more or less on Jimmy Rivera is 240.5. So in that one, I got Rivera going less. And I got Stamen going more, obviously.
Yeah, because they will be striking enough that you think you can get that over, or that more.
Yeah,
you can get that more.
And this is something that I brought up before when we really started to dissect this. People, when I'm coming up with these numbers, I'm not just coming up with these numbers just like, oh, I'm not like I'm pulling them out of my ass. Go back and look at their fights. Go back and look at how many strikes they're typically throwing in a fight. Think about how long their fights typically last. And then don't forget the 3 rounds and the 5-round part, because that makes a huge difference.
It really does.
Because Jimmy Rivera's fought in a couple 5-round fights. So it makes a big difference. So don't let that fool you when you go and you're like, oh, fuck. This dude fucking threw 120 or landed 120 significant strikes in his last fight. That was a 5-round fight, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be smart with this. And then, again, just one more. I guess we could go over it again. 1 point for a strike. 3 points for a significant strike, 10 points for a takedown, 15 points for a knockdown, 20 points for a submission attempt, and 25 points for the win. So take all that into consideration, too, whenever you're making your decision.
Yes. Playmakers, when you sign up with MKF and you use promo code GMM and you are getting down on these UFC props, make sure you do have you do always take a gander at the scoring format, so that could put in perspective while you look and study your film and you listen to the show and all, etc., to make your decisions on your props.
Yes. All right, on to the next fight.
Yeah.
And let me just start off with saying, again, I don't know why this is the second fight on the card. It is a fight card on a Wednesday night, so
maybe they want the bigger attraction in the middle. You know that's how it works in the rap game now too. Like whenever there's a show, the headliner doesn't go last. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The headliner goes somewhere towards the middle, and you don't want to be the guy following the headliner because that's when the crowd's leaving, and that's, you know what I mean?
Well, it makes a lot of sense, because if you think about it, let's say if the whole fight card was these 3 fights, you're going to tune in to watch the fight we just talked about. You're not going to change the middle fight because you're already watching it, and then you got the main event at the end. So it does make sense, and Dana White's a fucking business genius. So
yeah,
I mean, it makes
shout
sense.
out to Dana White, friend of the show.
Yeah, long-time friend.
Several drinks with that man.
Oh, Vegas all the time. It was wild. But yeah, no, this is one of those ones. Tim Elliott. Now this guy's kind of one of those dudes who's just maybe had the wrong matchups as far as like stylistically. He gave Mighty Mouse one of his best fucking
fights.
You know what I'm saying? Even though he's still lost, he's just one of those dudes that just like. He has the ability to be really good, but it's like they're trying to either push him too much or he's taking the wrong fight, so he's taking a lot of L's.
Yeah, they keep giving him the best available, and he's like, give me it.
Of course, and hey, more power to him. He actually got cut by the UFC, and then came back, and then he just lost his last fight, which was his 3rd fight that he lost in a row, and and he thought he was going to get cut for sure, but I think, again, because of the way he takes fights, I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about this guy. I don't hear enough.
They know he's not. They know he's better than a job guy. He's better than a jobber.
He's better than his opponent. That's for damn sure. So yeah. So they, instead of cutting him after his last fight, which again was his 3rd fight in the row, and anybody that doesn't know this, you lose 3 fights in the UFC.
Yeah, you're gone.
You've almost guaranteed. It's 3 strikes and you're out. You almost guarantee that you're getting tossed.
And then,
now,
and to be honest, that's why he's probably on this card in particular, because they put those guys that are on the cusp of being cut. They usually this is kind of like their last chance matches. You know what I mean? Like, all right, put them on fight night.
Yep, this is for guys who are about to get cut or guys who are on the way up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They let him bang it out. But you know what was crazy? Not only did they not cut him, they gave him a fucking contract extension.
Yeah.
So that was like, okay.
Hell of an agent.
Yeah. So yeah, that kid can bang. Again, like I said, stylistically, maybe he didn't have the best matchups. This Ryan Benoit, though, sparring partner. The dude is fucking
hell of a name, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know how hard it is for me not to say Chris Benoit.
Or Benoit.
Exactly.
The way it's spelled.
So, anyways, I mean, the dude, like, I've watched some of his tape because I can't even say that I could guarantee you that I've even seen him in a fight, but he throws like wild bombs, right? And sometimes they land because that's what happens. But
yeah, or sometimes you're gonna get caught.
But yeah, and the problem is
Slipping.
what happens when you throw nothing but wild bombs. You either get caught, like you just said,
Or you get tired.
or you get tired, or you get taken down to the ground, and you get ground and pounded and fucking top controlled for the whole fight. And I think that's where there's going to be the big difference in this. And I don't even think this is going to be a close fight at all. I think Elliott's going to win fairly easy. I think they might have put him against Mr. Fucking Bennett
to get him off that stinky losing streak.
Exactly, to put him back into the
Watch, he takes another L and he's like, it's all good. I'm under contract, baby.
bitch, you better pay me for my last
You watch, he's betting all the chippers
this
against himself.
Then this dude's going to be like, let me fight Connor. They're like, first of all, Connor's retired. He's not in your weight class. I want Connor.
I feel like every fighter is saying that at one point or another.
Yeah. So yeah, this one isn't going to be close. And then the whole thing was when I was watching him drop these big bombs that didn't land, he was getting out wrestled by guys who weren't even on the same level as Elliott. So
wow.
It's just not. It's not really.
So definitely looking at the under for Benoit.
For Benoit, yeah. So we're going.
Or not. I'm sorry. The less.
Yes, we're going less with Benoit, and we're going over with Elliott, and I'll just tell you what they are really.
My man. Yeah. We got to get better at that.
It's all right. They don't.
Well, no, because on MKF you could bet under over as well, but on the rounds. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I don't want to confuse them when they're looking at it. We're like, because that is another terminology. So there's under overs and there's less and more. Less and more playmakers is when we're referring to the fantasy point totals of the individual fighters.
Yeah. So with Benoit, his fantasy points are 165.5. I'm taking the less on that, obviously. And then for Tim Elliott, it's 210.5, and I'm taking the more. The only thing that kind of sucks about these things is that I don't even know if Benoit's going to last that long to where Tim Elliott's going to give him the over, but I'm just going to have to go with it. Or give him the more. So I'm just going to have to go with it. Hopefully he can just sit there and just get, ground and pounded for a while and just give me the points I need so I can get the props that I need.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Look at that. We're sounding really good. It's funny because when I'm sitting back listening to you deliver this A1 analysis, I'm like, oh man, I feel excited for the playmakers because this is the beginning of something beautiful. You know what I mean? We're only gonna get better at this because my man Nancy, it only gets better. Yeah, all right, let's go on to this third fight, and then maybe we'll bullshit a little bit after, and then we'll close this thing out.
All right. Yeah. So this is gonna be a brawl too.
This is the main fight, right? This is
the main fight. So
yes.
little different styles as far as fighting, but they're gonna bang. Calvin Kattar is he's a straight like boxer. Like the dude's fucking like phenomenal boxer. He that's literally like his background, his forte.
That's his authority right there.
Yeah, he's rangy. He actually has like the crispiest jab that you might have ever seen. Like, so he uses that jab
to set everything up
at the range, and he does. And when he sets it up, he's just hitting you like jab, 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 and then boom, hits you with a cross. He's hitting you with 1-2 combos often. His weakness, I can't remember who it was that did it to him, but he got leg kicked to shit.
Oh, yeah. I remember this.
And that's a problem with the boxer because he's barely getting into throwing leg kicks, and that's the beauty of MMA.
Being able to check leg kicks even.
Yeah, and I mean that's the beauty of MMA because you see like people that are just like amazing. Let's just say like fucking Manny Pacquiao, right? Like fucking one of the greatest boxers of all time. If he was to go step into the octagon, he would just get murdered. And how are you going to murder him? You're going to fucking grab him to the ground, or you're going to leg kick the shit out of his ass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're going to do. So that's just kind of a transition that this dude's got to make, and he is getting a little bit better at it. As far as Dan Ige, I had to fucking look up how to say his fucking name. So he's a Hawaiian. So guess what? He's a scrappy fucking fighter.
Yes, yes, this is accurate. We've touched on this. Yes.
Yes, it kind of goes hand in hand.
He was born in the ocean, floated up, then he was shot out of the womb, floated up to shore, and then immediately started squabbling with a grown man in the sand.
Just cracking coconuts over his head and shit.
That's how all Hawaiians should be born. Fighters.
So the dude's, obviously he's going to be kind of like that Max Holloway. He likes to sit more in the pocket though, so he's not going to be as bouncy as rangy. He's going to sit there and just try to bang. He's going to do what these Hawaiian fighters, these dudes like to do. He is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
No, judo brown belt. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. Hopefully
my bad. I read that wrong then.
He's a Division II wrestler. So there's a lot more to him than what he does, but because he's fucking Hawaiian,
all he wants to do is throw them things.
He just wants to.
He's like, you could take it to the ground, you'd probably be better, but he's like, nah, cuss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wants to bang.
So, and then so he's never been knocked out ever, right? Ever. And Qatar, most of his fights come by way of unanimous decision. So they go to the cards, but it's not even close. So that means he's doing what he's doing. He's piecing people up. Exactly the styles that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Hawaiian style is what we're going to call it now.
Yeah. The Hawaiian style. I'm talking about Qatar now.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
But his last 4 wins have came by way of knockout. So maybe he's getting more comfortable with
Hawaiian style.
No, he's not Hawaiian.
I know, but I'm just saying maybe he's been training in the Hawaiian style.
That's what it is. Just go to Hawaii and train. You'll be a champ. You're good.
For real though.
But yeah, so he. That's gonna be a straight banger. The keys to victory for Qatar obviously is to keep that range, keep that jab, that amazing boxing going. Like I said though, Ige is a kickboxer, so he is going to be throwing kicks and he is going to be looking to shoot. You're really going to have the brawler versus the boxer, and a lot of people don't understand what the difference is, but I think we kind of covered it. A boxer is a lot more crispy, a lot more clean, a lot more calculated, and a brawler's going to go out there and he still has technique to his game, but he's going to go out there and try to just knock somebody's fucking head off. But with him having that kind of wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu background, plus being Hawaiian, I mean, he's got a lot of weapons in his favor, but I think because of how much more crispy Qatar is, I think Qatar is going to take this one.
Yeah,
and he's a slight favorite in this.
And
thing.
since Qatar, he does his stand-up game with his boxing background is more phenomenal, and then he's going up against a Hawaiian who wants to brawl. He might even be able to take this one the distance by just just playing the long game and letting the Hawaiian tire himself out. You know what I'm saying? While he just pieces them up with these jabs and stacks up these fantasy points. So now what's the totals on these guys?
Let me pull up the totals just so you guys know. I'm going over on this one.
Okay. More.
Yeah,
more.
Let me bring it up because I still think when you're fighting a boxer or a brawler, the type of fight that they're going to be in, because I don't think that Qatar is going to allow him to get to the ground.
Because of his background, Qatar's like, fuck that, I ain't going to the ground with a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a brown belt in judo.
Qatar's actually
Division
really good
II wrestler,
getting off of his back. So even though he's not the best at takedown defense or the leg kick defense, when he is taken down, he's pretty good about getting his ass right back up. The fantasy points for Ige is 296.5. The fantasy points for Qatar is 370.5. Don't forget, this is a 5-round fight because it's the main event.
Yeah.
Any main event is going to be a 5-round fight.
So you're smashing the more on both these fighters.
I'm smashing more. I think that it's going to go. This is the thing too is that like I said, Qatar is a crispy boxer, and the other dude's a brawler, so you know that they're going to keep swinging at him. The one thing that kind of scared me was that, Qatar's last 4 wins have came by way of knockout, but Ige has yet to be knocked out. So
nice.
I'm going to say they're going to go out there and just punch each other in the face fucking for 5 rounds. And I'm going to get 2.5 times my props on both of them.
And one thing that I would be wary of if, him getting off his back, isn't the greatest that night, Qatar. You know what I mean? Tell me, how is Ige's his submission game? Because he is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, when I say submission game, how many has he won by submission?
I don't have exact numbers on that one.
But he has though. He has won by submission before. Obviously,
of course, yeah. Yeah, I can bring up a little something for it.
Yeah, because then that's the one. Because I do think with the way you broke down these particular fighters, that it will be a brawl for 5 rounds to support smashing the more on both of these players for MKF.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick. So he's got 14 wins, 2 losses, 3 knockouts only, 5 submissions, and 6 decisions.
Okay, so he's
not a knockout artist.
No,
he has submitted some people,
and he's hard to be knocked out because he's yet to be knocked out.
And the majority of his fights go to decision. And then actually his only 2 losses also went to decision. Okay. So 8 out of his 16, half of his fights go to decision. Wow. So I mean, that's money in the bank right there.
Smash the more playmakers on both these fighters. And you know what I'm saying? When you guys are hearing this, if the numbers have changed just a little bit, you know what I mean? They usually drop. You know what I'm saying? And if the numbers do drop, they both fighters' numbers usually drop, unless something crazy happened, like I don't know. What do you think could happen that would make a fighter's odds? Like maybe he woke up and they're like, oh, he had diarrhea. He lost 5 pounds this morning. Like, maybe the odds makers might be like, all right, let's drop his number down a little bit. But aside from
I think that only happens on on the Vegas straight up.
Yeah, that is true.
Because when it comes to these, I don't remember what the cutoff time was, but I remembered it. But either way, that they're not allowed to change the fantasy points. I think it's within 4 hours, and then if they do, they have to send you a notification or some shit, and then
that's right. I did read that. I think you're right.
And then you have 30 minutes to change your shit if you want to. But I think it's pretty set once they. I mean, and then again the fight's tomorrow, so I mean.
Well, today when they hear this, it'll be today because this will be out by the morning. This will be out by the middle of the night, actually, or early morning Wednesday. So. Yes, today is Wednesday. Playmakers, happy Wednesday.
It's at 7 p.m. That's dope. So I can. That's when the undercard will fight, and I think those are. Oh no, there's 5 on the undercard. So that's good. I'll be able to watch these at least after I come home from the gym. I won't have to miss them because whenever they're doing that, this one's in.
This one's in Florida, Orlando, right? Oh no, it's in Vegas.
I think it's the Flash Forum.
You using Uncle Google trying to see where the Flash Forum's at?
You know it.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm curious not to. Isn't it? It's not Orlando.
I don't know.
Either way, 7 p.m. our time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard. That's when that's when the first fight starts. Because we did only highlight the 3 playmakers. Have fun fucking with the other fights. No.
This one's in Abu Dhabi too.
Oh, okay.
I figured that because when they did the first COVID fights, they did the same thing. They did 3 fights in a week, and it was all in, what was that, Jacksonville or wherever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they have their little bubble going on over there.
Yeah, keep everybody in there. And
yeah.
Let it be.
Well, yeah, man. Well, Nancy, we'll just shoot the shit for like 5 minutes, man. How are you doing with this? Oh, you know what? Actually, real quick, let's recap. So, one more time, Playmakers, with the Riviera versus we're not taking Riviera. You know what I'm saying? We like him. We like was it Stemmen or Stem?
Yeah.
Yeah, we like him straight up. But then also we're taking the less on Riviera and more on Stem. Is that his name? Am I fucking his name up?
Stammen, yeah.
Stammen, there you go. You know what I'm saying? And then the middle card, it's a wash. Damn, oh my God, I'm so high right now. What in the fuck is the names?
Yeah, no, Elliot and Benoit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Elliot's about to smash that
Yeah, he's
ass.
gonna smash. And to
And we're taking
recap,
the more on Elliot and the less on Benoit.
and then we're smashing more on both fighters in the final, but we're giving this one to Qatar. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So check us out, Playmakers. Me and one of my good old best buddies in the world, my brother from another. Love you strong, by the way, Nancy.
Love you, Sean.
You know what I'm saying? We both hail from the Bay Area, California. You know what I'm saying? And out here in North, or, you're out in the Valley, but you know what I'm saying. And I don't mind telling people where you're at because I'm not being specific. And plus, like you said, you don't want to find him. Okay, you find him, it's probably problems. But definitely follow him at _Billy Turnage. You know what I'm saying? And because the name Billy doesn't sound threatening at all. But yes, he is a savage. Just don't, let's be clear. But yes,
I'll just get you really drunk. You'll be fine.
so me and Nancy, yeah, for a while. He'll just show you only the best time in your life. Because that's pretty much is your track record. You know what I mean? Just we've had some of the greatest adventures, and that's for another podcast. But we do live in Northern California. There you go. That specifies it. We're both residing in Northern California, and they're shutting this thing down again.
Again, and they're not done. The people are calling this wave 2. This is not wave 2. This is just still wave 1. That we're going back to way the beginning.
Yeah.
Wave 2 is coming in the wintertime, and stack your money. Start buying toilet paper again for you fucking weirdos that did all that. Did it, but yeah, it's good. This is just crazy. I mean, they're shutting down businesses. I mean, I really, I don't like to talk about it because everybody has their own views, and I don't like being that person that.
No, but still, though, over here on the GMM network, which you are one of our resident experts, come on, we let it all hang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think that I think that it's definitely a real virus, and I think that it's obviously been killing people. I think a lot of the numbers are skewed, and I think a lot of people are they're listening to whatever the government's telling them.
Yeah, the misinformation.
Yeah, and they're getting free fucking money. So I mean, who wouldn't? Like, there's people that got to go out and work. Like like a lot of essential people. I'm an essential worker, and I got to go out and work. I mean, honestly, the money they're giving out to stay home wouldn't fucking pay my mortgage, but still, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I never got no fucking stimulus check or nothing like that. But I mean, looking at it from both sides, and I think that's the reason why I don't talk politics with people, because I can see both sides of the story. I understand that there is a virus out there. I understand that it is deadly. I don't think it's as deadly as they're trying to make it seem. But at the end of the day, and me personally, I've went on vacations a couple times. It's only been a couple of day vacations since this went on, and because I'm all about mental health as well, and I what they're not talking about is the amount of people who have lost their fucking minds, being locked up in the house,
or even the suicide rate that definitely went up significantly in the United States.
Or as you know, I run a softball team with where most of the guys on there are either sheriffs or firefighters or correctional officers, and the amount of domestic violence and rape cases that are coming in are like 10 times what they've ever been, and I've been in that place before, and there was hella people in there for domestic violence. So the fact that it's like 10 times more, it's crazy. And just think about it. I mean, there's a lot of people that are in there locked with their significant other, and a lot more people that are drinking and doing a lot of other.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, it's almost a blessing for those type of individuals to leave, for 8 hours at a time and go to work, because when they're around their significant other, like, they start figuring out maybe that's not the one they should have been with. Like, I'm happy that I'm in a happy relationship because, not much has changed in my life because of quarantine. I am a person who works remotely and watches the kids, while my girl, who is an essential worker, is a nurse and is on the front line. So it's like, we are natural creatures that are of OCD. So we did adapt fairly well, but it's still not anything that we take lightly. And we do tell the Playmakers constantly that, wash your hands, wash your ass. You know what I mean? Just wear your mask, rock your gloves. You know what I mean? Practice social distancing. Don't take this lightly. You know what I mean? And if you have elderly parents or whatever, go do their grocery for them. Don't let them put themselves at risk. You know what I mean? And, just like take this serious, because like people are saying, they think this is the second wave, and then there's gonna be those percentage of people that are dumb as fuck. They're like, well, the second wave wasn't that bad, I'm going outside. And it's like, no, this wasn't the second wave, it's just the back end of the first wave that's happening again. And then those are the people that contribute to the spikes. You know what I mean? Like, you know, even though there's a lot of misinformation, the one thing I'm gonna say is just like, you know, properly stay sanitized. You know what I mean? You know, don't, you know, if you're out in public, don't touch things and touch your face. You know what I mean? Definitely don't. I be trying my best not to bare hand anything, even before the pandemic. You know me. I'll be in a bathroom to exit a bathroom where the door is a pull handle. And there's no napkins, and I'm like, fuck, I'm stuck, and I gotta wait till a motherfucker barges in the bathroom so I can run out the door when it swings open. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, my girl always jokes and says, you know, I was made for this world. You know what I mean? Like, I've been training all my life for this world, being a journalist.
The thing that scares me the most, and I agree with a lot of what you said, is that you know that I wear a tinfoil hat. I see a lot of things. The majority of my research goes into the government and our economic system, because
that's what you work in, closely.
That's what I work in, and that's what I like to do. I don't like talking politics because, like I said, people always want to force only one way down their throat. And anybody that's out there and thinks that, you know, the left or the right or fucking Republicans or
it's
Democrats.
All this pandemic is all our problem. So
exactly, and for either one of you, I don't care if you're the left or the right or Republican or Democrat, liberal or
indie
or any of the fucking things. If you think for 1 second that your side is completely right, and that if you can't prove the point that your side is completely right, you're a fucking issue. You're a problem. And the reason why this is scary is because I feel like we're almost to the point that a civil war is going to happen. And because, as we were talking about, this is still the back end of the first wave. I'm actually legitimately scared of the coronavirus in the wintertime.
Yeah,
that's
because the amount of because that's the actual flu season.
Exactly.
And like, so people are they're gonna go to the hospital thinking they got it, and they might even contract it.
Everybody's gonna lose their fucking mind. They're gonna get a cold, and they're gonna think they have coronavirus. Or there's gonna be people that have coronavirus, and they're gonna think, oh, it's just a fucking cold. I'm gonna take some NyQuil. This shit's gonna get out of hand. And as much as as divided as our country is right now, it's scary to think what's going to happen. Like, I'm thinking like all hell's going to fucking break loose, man.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is, it's sad to say, it's almost like we need another 9/11, and I hate to say that, but we need like and it sucks. Do we need like another fucking disaster?
Okay. How about this? Let me try to touch on this. But let me try to add to what you're saying by actually a little bit changing what you're saying. You said something like a 9/11 event because it brought us all together.
Exactly.
We had a common enemy. But here's the thing: we do have a common enemy, and it's a worldwide pandemic. It's a worldwide common enemy, and it's just an invisible enemy called coronavirus. The corona, as my man Franklin likes to call it. You know what I mean? The goddamn COVID-19. And you know what's crazy? I'm going to say this, you know, seriously, as jokingly as it might sound. Yo, man, if this is only 19, man, and they got sequels coming to Corona 20 and up, man, what in the fuck, man? This is some real shit. Playmakers, you know what I'm saying? Our community here, you know what I mean? We got to spread the word that we all got to, you know, be safe. And you know what I mean? And we really got to stay inside, as crazy as it makes us all. You know what I mean? Like, all right, how about this? In the Philippines right now, you know, my pops told me that it's mandatory shutdown for everybody. And when you go to the store, you have a designated time and hour. So it's like, and I kind of like that, even though as like, you know, prison type of status that sounds like, you know what I mean? It's keeping certain areas at bay. Like, say you have a hot spot area, there's a lot of cases. You might designate them to one store maybe, or one area, like, and then like, you know, it just becomes more organized to stop the spread. You know what I mean? Because we're here in America, when they started opening up places like Texas and Orlando, or in Florida and Atlanta, or Georgia, what do you think people did from everywhere else? They're like, let's go over there. You know what I mean? Hey, they're opening up Texas, and I'm in Alabama. Let's go visit, you know, Uncle Joe in Texas. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, and then And then I got shout out to Mac Nees. He out there in Louisiana right now. He just touched down there a couple days ago, and because he's his grandparents, they're retiring out there because that's where they're from. And he was like, they barely started enforcing wearing masks like a week ago. So it just goes to show that even though we're on the left coast and it is more of a left thinking, spectrum, I guess you could say, what I mean? We are a progressive place being in California, so or a progressive state. So we shut down like a month earlier than a lot of these states that I mentioned. We enforced wearing masks like 2 months ago. So it's like, like we might be onto something here, but who else trips me out is New York. They might have figured something out because their numbers have dropped significantly, and they were one of the hot spots. And now even a place like Orlando is, or Florida, they're spiking up. Maybe not Orlando specifically, but Florida in general. Their numbers are worse than New York right now. You know what I mean? So just goes to show you, playmakers. This shit is serious. You know what I mean? As much as numbers can be skewed, I do want to say numbers don't lie. Even though those two statements.
Hey, hold on, that was like an oxymoron.
I was about to say that those two statements contradict each other, but I'm going with it because that's the type of shit we're living in. We're hearing one thing and then hearing the other. So,
like I said, I half agree with it being. I mean, obviously it's real and whatever, but understand that there's propaganda behind this. There wasn't a reason why Bill Gates stepped down from being the CEO of Microsoft for all of those years and now is putting all his money into pharmaceuticals. There's some fucking underlying shit, and it has to do with our election. There's a lot of shit that it has to do with. Maybe it was something that was man-made. Maybe it was just, maybe it was just something that
maybe it's the work of God cleansing.
You have but what I will say is, and you guys might want to look into this. Dr. Fauci's colleagues came out with the first COVID vaccine tested in the U.S., boosted people's immune systems just the way that scientists hoped. It's called Moderna, Moderna. It was $75 a share.
Oh, wow. Conspiracy.
30 minutes ago, and it's already up to $87 a share right now.
Did you buy any?
Well, I'm on the phone with you, but I'm about to go.
Yes, because you're watching it rise. I'm like, yo, why aren't you on this?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go do that and then just bail when I triple my money and be like, all right, I'm cool.
He's like, I'm retiring to Fight Island. Where's Nancy? He's in Abu Dhabi.
Damn. Shit.
Well,
all
man,
right, I'm really going to go look into this, though. I got to go into
this. Well, shit, you know what? This was episode 80. I want to say this is going to be 88. Yeah, this is episode 88 of the Real Fantasy Playmakers. And this was our UFC Fight Night 172 breakdown. Playmakers, you know the drill. Hit subscribe on the GMM Network. Go ahead and follow me at Bogart Scott Free World on IG. Follow us at the GMM Network on IG and Twitter. Go ahead and go on to our proud sponsor, monkeyknifefight.com. Create your first account. And go ahead and throw down your first deposit, and we'll match it all the way up to $50 using promo code GMM. Good luck to everybody. Let's win some money. Monkey Knife Fight, give me money. UFC, give me money. Moderna, give me money. You know what I'm saying? Save the world also. Let's go. Good shit, Nance.
Okay, bye. That's over there.
It's the opposite of high. It works. It works.
All right, bro.
Love you, brother.
I love you too.